thinking about it. My hair is standing on end just thinking about it.
Clayton,
What's going on?
did you just watch the 400 hurdles?
That's pretty impressive.
Oh,
Good for Rye. Rye was long overdue for that win.
right?
Long overdue for that win.
That was one of those, man. Now that I know how to watch the 400 hurdles and look for who's hitting the ground first,
Yeah.
when they're all staggered, my wife and I know actually what to look for, and we're like, oh my God, they're neck and neck, and then suddenly, I don't know where it was there that he started to really pull away. I guess on the last turn, right?
Yeah. That's where he kind of separated out.
Well, this will be a fun show. Dev and Sam and you, this is going to be a blast, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun.
So Devon has a hard out at 5, and I know you're tight on time too, right?
Yeah, I got hard out at 5. We got concert tonight, so really stepping
nice.
out even in 15 minutes after we're done here.
All right, awesome. Here's Devon. Let's pull him in. Yo, Dev. Oh, where'd he go? We're having our technical problems early.
Already.
Let me pop him back in here. See what happens. He's back.
We're back. And we're back. What's up, boys?
We're back.
What up?
We got the squad together here.
What is that facial hair going?
I know.
Golly, dude.
Hey, I'm grinding. I'm on that grind right now. So don't matter what I look like.
Just chopping wood with that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are missing all the fun. I mean, well, Devon, you were. Clayton was here a few times in between. Yesterday's show, we had this woman who is a 6-time Olympic shooter. She's won a medal in 6 consecutive Olympics. It was crazy. She's the only, I think she was the only person for a while to win a medal in 5 consecutive, and then someone else did it. But I think she's the only woman to have in any sport.
Did you see the wrestler from
That's
Cuba?
what I was literally going to say. When there's some 40-year-old wrestling dude who's done it.
Yeah, this guy.
Heavyweight. Yeah,
That's
he just does.
That's the other guy.
You can't beat him. I mean, he didn't wrestle me though, so that's.
It's true. Yeah, her name is Kim Rode. We're gonna have her back on because you know why? Because of the 6 Olympics, she's connected to so many other Olympians, including handball players. So
We do need some handball players.
she's our pipeline to handle.
I think me and Clayton are going to get handball going next Olympics too, right?
I think we're going to be the cornerstones of the team. I don't know what position we can play. I don't know what positions there are, but I think we can be cornerstones of the team. Foundation. Build a team around us.
I'm just, I'm just looking out. The flag football is going to the Olympics in 2028. Like, I might have to double up.
I didn't want to say anything. I've been waiting for that comment to come out of your mouth because I've been thinking about that one. I'm like, well,
Hey,
the
this?
twofer.
The twofer. Are we live already?
Oh, hey, there we go. Devon, you're up.
No, Clayton can do it because I've been doing it.
No, you can do it. I want to hear it. I've been heard all about this introduction.
Welcome back to the world's greatest live stream show where we've been talking about all things sports, especially the Olympic Games the last 2 weeks with now 48 hours left of the Olympic Games. The last track event just happened about 5 minutes ago if you guys were watching and now tuning in. We're your hosts. My name is Devon. I'm a two-time U.S. Olympian in the 110-meter hurdles and played football with the Eagles the last 2 years. Above me, if it's like this, is Clayton Murphy, 2016 bronze medalist in the Rio Olympic Games and many U.S. champion. And then Bob, the co-founder and owner of the world's greatest and pretty much just all things media and helps us athletes connect and get content out of there. Some of the stuff that you watch here, some of the stuff that you see on the ticker below on Curiosity Streams and watch VIZIO Free Plus, the Science of Movement that we have out most recently with a lot of Olympic athletes, all our social medias, our YouTube channel, World's Greatest. And so welcome. How's it going, guys?
Hey, Sam has impeccable timing because he's ready to pop right in. So we're going to bring him in just to get things rolling right out of the gate.
Oh, dang, guys. Sam, you're already back home?
Dang. Okay. In 2015, I'm gonna story tell you real quick. I don't know if Clayton went to this thing in Vegas where they said it's a pre-Olympic seminar. I spent a bunch of money taking everybody that wasn't athletes out to a hotel in Vegas. Went to go see a rodeo. It was great. But they advised me two things that I remember. They said, if you're serious about getting a medal, don't go to opening or closing ceremonies.
Oh,
so I don't go to closing or opening ceremonies. I'm home, baby. Get me out of there.
Damn, I guess that's probably what my problem was. The last two games.
I did both in 16. Hey, I did both in 16.
Well, you're a hoss,
right?
I was doing everything I could.
Young kid back then, it was different.
What are you, 23? I think I was 23 back then.
Hey, here.
I was 21.
This is the dream team. These three, this is the dream team live stream show. So, Sam, we have yet to introduce you. Who wants to do the Sam introduction? Well, why don't we have Sam do his own introduction?
I'm washed up, officially ousted, unquotable, uninterviewable, damaged goods out of Mississippi. Old guy, ageless if necessary. Sam Kendricks, recent silver medalist, beaten by a foot at the Olympics.
That's a pretty good intro.
Beaten by.
I mean, hey, what's a foot?
12 inches.
Yeah,
it is what it is. That's my dog. It's my dog. He's an animal. I tell him everything he knows. That's how it goes.
So okay, well, this is a perfect lead-in to some of the questions we got for you. Sam, congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
You know me, big pole vault fan. One of my best friends, Cole Walsh, pole vaulter.
King Cole.
I've been locked in on pole vault since I was 15, 16. What is the atmosphere? When you got the last few guys that are still in the competition, right? Like, and I know this is what I see. I'm gonna say my observations, and then tell you what you tell me if it's right or not. During diamond leagues and like some not world championship events, like all you guys are like like partying, like feeling good. You guys are helping each other out. You're like move the standards, or like, hey, wait for the win and this and that. But at the Olympic Games and world champs, it's crickets out there. Silent.
All right. Do you have any more observations?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
tell me how it is.
I always describe track as three islands, right? you got this sponsorship island over here, and everybody's trying to get to that island. Sydney McLaughlin's on that island. Eventually, you get good enough at the sport, you stop doing it. You run 3-4 times a year. You maybe do your race once. You break the world record. Your sponsors are very thankful for you. Most people never get all the way to that island. They get a little bit of the way, but never all the way. The island number 2, that's the grinders, right? Those are the people out on the circuit. I've been called a, I don't know if you can say this on radio, but I've been called a circuit whore before, or a street fault slut, or all those things that are the one thing that a lot of pro athletes actually do, and that's the job, which is go compete a lot. And then trois is the Olympics. Now, the World Championships, World Indoor Championships, those go in category number 2. Those are grinders meets, right? They're for track. But the Olympics is on its own island. It's almost extra. But unlike number 2, right? I don't get some $40,000 appearance fee to show up. I don't get to show up with a physio and my coach on a first-class ticket. I can't entice my 65-year-old coach to come out of the house, especially since I got screwed over in Tokyo. I ain't getting him. That being said, at the Olympics, the third island, you get extra credit for an extra ticket. And so everybody's got their own guy there. And so everybody in pole vault knows too many Chiefs, not enough Indians is a big deal. So at the Olympics, there's a lot less of that, hey, I got your back thing, because you've already got a guy that's got your back. But when you're on island number 2 and we're all out there like the circus monkeys that we are, going from meet to meet to meet to meet to meet to meet, I just don't want anybody to die. So that's why we take a lot of extra details in order. And I'm going to warn a guy if he's not doing that great. I'm going to tell him, I'm going to give him a little advice here and there, because now if some young buck right off the plane starts giving me advice, hey, I ain't going to try it, but at least he's talking to me. So that's nice. Yeah. But if you get advice from me, you ought to listen to it.
Fair enough. That does make sense. It definitely, those 3 categories makes, it kind of sums up track.
My favorite boy in the competition is my boy King Cole, who we were just talking about. Cole Walsh, King Coleo. He was the only guy to make the final with me in 2019, and he sat by the runway. And he acted like he didn't speak English to the officials. They were trying to kick him out like every minute. He sat right next to the runway and watched my shit.
Wind gauge.
Because all them Swedes were making so much noise, and I couldn't hear my coach. Couldn't hear him at all. So I was like, I got to talk to King Cole right here. He had my back because I couldn't even get over there because all the Swedes were waving their flags in my coach's face and shit like that, trying to distract him. That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah.
This is the best 7 minutes of this series so far, Sam. We're out of the gate hot.
Well, the ageless one has got plenty of stories. Don't you worry.
See, and here's one thing I got to say too. You just said it. The whole like age thing in the Olympics and stuff is kind of weird to me, because you're under 20, you're under 27, you're like the young gun, like vying for
it's black or white, man.
Yeah, you're under 27. Oh, like young Olympian. When I was 21 in my first Olympics, and then 26 in my second, I was still like the young American, and now I'm 29. They're like, oh, this guy's cooked.
I thought Devon Allen came out the womb handsome and well endowed and athletic, but the rest of us had to work for it. When he was 21, and I remember when he won USA's in 2017 in Sacramento, it was hot as hell on the track, and I'm over here working my butt off. Thought I had a great day, and all I can hear the rest of the freaking day is Devon Allen, the double support threat, Devon Allen. Oh, look at his handsome family right over here. Devon Allen. I'm like, dang, guys, at least give me some mic love a little bit. Lewis.
Actually, that was in 2014.
Somebody call me over here. Like, I'm doing shit. I'm watching everybody from the best field in the house. Oh, there's Devon Allen, the 2-timer, the champ. I'm like, I love you too.
You make a good point. Because, the age discrepancy, like, is kind of crazy. Like, that's like the data point they give when they intro people.
It's relatable. I mean, it's relatable. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we just watched Quincy Hall in the 4x4 prelim yesterday, and they take all 8 guys that make the final in the 400 at the trial. So, I mean, you got to touch the track to get the Olympic moniker unless you're top 3. Mm-hmm. So I'm really glad they gave him his spot, but that's a new category. That's not young or old. That's baby.
Oh, you're talking about Quincy Wilson.
I remember when Sydney McLaughlin was the baby. I remember when Vashti Cunningham was the baby, right? And then they became the 8 girls that they are. Quincy Hall is going to get set up to be the feature film for the next 10 years, which is great. You know, he's a good kid.
Quincy Hall.
I did have to watch my boy Pocket Rocket Vernon Norwood run team out of a hole on his second leg, running like a 43.9, which is epic. You got to give the baby a shot sometime.
Yeah. No, and I think too is like, you know, when you're in the sport so young, you're doing well, like you were, Sam, and even me and Clayton, right? We were all like, what, 21, 22, 23, you know, and the Olympics is like, we've been around for a while, so everybody just assumes, you know,
well,
we're
your career
older
goes
than
like
we are.
this. People don't think track athletes' careers go like this, but they do. And you may be just as good throughout, but everybody else kind of goes around if you've got the gig right. But in my event, in pole vault, we actually have a curse, right? You know, you ever heard of the Hollywood curse, people dying at 26? 12 years. 12 years, that's all you got, right? Once you jump 19 feet for the first time, 580, you got 12 years until you're retired. Croaked, jumped out. It's weird how many pole vaulters you look at, and it's like a curse of the dozen, right? You look at it when they first jump 580, and then how long until they retire. And it's 11 to 12 years every time, right? It is wild if you go look at it. And me, I jumped 580 at 20. So technically I'm supposed to be retired next year. So I'm going to see if I can break the curse.
Well, Sam, when we first met in 2018, I remember sitting down. We were in some pizza bar restaurant in, I don't know, Des Moines or wherever the hell we were. And you had a napkin and you were sketching out all the details of the pole vault, explaining stuff to me. But then you flipped it over and you kind of started to write out I only have so many jumps in my career. And you sketched it out, and it was through 2030.
It's 100. Well, in that regard, I'm trying to beat the system, but that would be a dozen years, from 2018. But but some guys they're good at 40, but they started at 28. Pole vaulters usually start late, so I'm 31 years old at the Olympics. Is not supposed to be that old. It just happened to be that I was the oldest guy in the final by a long shot, by a whole college degree minimum, and that's not very common. Me and Mondo and everybody looked around like, this is a different looking final than I've usually seen before.
I got one comment to say on that. I think the reason why, I don't know if Clayton has any comments to say. I think the reason why track and field athletes seem to kind of, fizzle out into their 30s is because most of them, like, unless you're like the top guy, right? Like you're, top 5 in your event or year over year. Most of them are like 30, they turn 29, 20, 30, 31. They're tired of being broke. And they're like, I got to get a job. I got to do something. I got a kid now, all this stuff.
Yes.
So I see a lot where I see a lot of talent.
Oh, that's a bar. That is a bar right there.
It becomes like when you're young, like you're selfish. You can just be selfish.
You can just roll the dice as much as you want. You just roll the dice every year.
You want to go to Europe and go run? Like, great, you go run. You want to go run this meet? You go run. Like, there's no mortgage to pay. There's no, you've got your contract that's like solidified out of college. You don't worry about your coach. Like, you ain't worry about physio. Like, you're training at your facility. Like, I went through that. Like, I was training at I was training with the Oregon Project, and now it's like, like I'm training at home, like I wake up at 6 a.m. with Cash and like feed him breakfast, and I'm trying to work out this morning, and like I'm trying to eat my breakfast, and he's not really wanting to eat his breakfast, and I'm like, can I just have 10 minutes, eat a good breakfast so I can have a good workout this morning? It's like, Bryce Oppel, for example, isn't sitting at home trying to feed his kid breakfast, 2-year-old breakfast before he goes and works out. Like, there's whole many different things you have to juggle when you get older. It doesn't mean you can't do it. Plenty of people do it, but it's just a whole different thing to do.
That is so true, Clayton. Man, I'm connected to you in this right now. I am connected to you in this.
You guys are in the weeds.
It's just like every decision you make. It's like when practice time is. Like, you might be like, well, the ideal practice time is 9 a.m. It's like, well, like Cash has got a doctor's appointment at 8:30. Like, I can't work out until 11, but it's warmer. Like, there's all these different factors that kind of sway things. It's like even decisions, like even kind of before Cash, it was like with having a wife and having a home and like decisions of like, well, like, do I want to go to Europe for 2 weeks and train? Like, it kind of like Sam said, like, I'm not in this boat of like flying my coach over to Europe for 2 weeks, but like being over to compete in Europe for 2 or 3 weeks is extremely important. But is it worth the balance of like giving up time with my coach and like, missing a workout or two here? It's like, but I go there and I need to make money. I need to get ranking. I need to get this. I need to do this. Like, There's all these pluses. I'm literally sitting in that boat right now of like, do I continue to train for 3 or 4 weeks for the opportunity potentially to compete? Who knows where? Or do I just shut it down, enjoy time with family, like kind of get my body right and get ready and throw all my cards in next year? Or do I kind of like there's literally all these decisions that have to be made every single day as a pro athlete, especially the older you get. When you're young, you're just like, go, 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 go. Whatever time practice is, I do that. Physio is this, training's this, sleep is this, eat this, go on and be your selfish way.
It's just like luster, but they don't always make you good. They don't always, having it your way, Burger King all the time, don't always make you good. It does oftentimes make it easier to be good, though.
Mm.
I've never understood how Devon could do summer if on the field, train through the winter for the indoor season, or flip flop between sports and whatnot. I'm like, how does he have the mileage in order to do that? That was always something. Maybe you had to pull back the curtain for me a little bit, Devon. I don't know how you manage a load of running whatever the hell you're doing these days and doing real estate or big rich stuff that you're doing.
No, I think the biggest benefit is like what I do on the track and what I do on the football field is pretty similar in terms of like the body type.
Yeah,
right. Like, I kind of stay around 190. I'm supposed to be strong and fast and explosive. That's my job on the football field. And then in track, it's that as well. And obviously a little bit more technical with the hurdle event and that. But, since I was in high school, even 19, 20, as a young athlete running at USA's and NCAA's, I've always been, fast and elite. So now I'm just, as I'm getting older, right, like the technical part is getting a lot better. And we've seen that like in my performances, the last few years. Obviously, it's a little bit harder to manage the pro football like in the NFL than I thought. I mean, not than I thought. I knew it was going to be hard. But it is a lot of work because, 2022, do OTAs, run the track season, get DQ'd at Worlds, go to play football. And then we play all the way to
no idea how much I cried in 2022 at that.
Oh, thank you, Sam.
You have no idea. I wasn't there. I got held out. They wouldn't let me come.
But we go all the way to the Super Bowl, right? So that's February 15th. And then I start training March 1st. And, how it goes when you start training. It doesn't matter when you start training. There's always like aches and pains the first 6 weeks. Like it's the worst. So I didn't even feel good until May 1st. But then by June, I was running 13.0 again. So I'm like, all right, we're back. And that's just kind of like the luck of the draw in terms of like I figured out the formula for myself.
I heard Ryan Whiting on his. He don't post very often. Ryan Whiting, he said something on his Instagram the other day about the old guy having feedback loops. He knows what it takes to get him back to good, and the young guy who's willing to roll the dice every year because he's got all the help that he had from college and nobody's kicked him out of his university yet. None of the shit hurts, and he didn't have a surgery yet. He's willing to roll the dice every year, trying to figure out what makes him great. We already know what makes us good, so we can just go back to that.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and that's what I'm relying on. And obviously, it's not ideal missing this track season with a knee injury, but I've also done it, and got back. And so, I'm not that worried, long term in terms of recovering. It just the timing's bad, right? It'd been nice to be in Paris with all you guys and on the podium, but that's how the sport goes. Sometimes you're there, sometimes you're not, and you kind of keep moving forward regardless. So,
well, I just wanted to ask you, Sam, on thinking back to Tokyo, and I remember doing a Zoom call with you when you were like quarantined and all that shit, and we're trying to get senators to get you out of that hotel and all this stuff, and I think about that, and I think about was it last year? I mean, basically, you had a year that you were not completely healthy, right? To come all the way back from that into where you are now, take us through that journey just a little bit. Just give us a little peek behind the curtain.
All right, Spark Note version. I get ousted from the Olympic Village, put in a slave camp, and not given a quote by Team USA. And everybody thinks I flew home, but no, they hid me in a hotel on the other side of Tokyo on the sunny side of a glass box. And I wasn't sick. You got to pass all those tests to get into Tokyo, and then all of a sudden they lock you up, they muzzle you up, walk you out of the village, threaten to give you over to border control if you don't step your way into isolation. I said, well, where's my freaking rights? Are you just going to shoot me in the head when I get there? I don't know. The Japanese are not really great at treating American servicemen in captivity. They got books and books about that. Just look at Louis Zamperini. That being said, when I left Tokyo, after the whole team left, it was only after aged senior senators and otherwise people said, Sam, you're kryptonite. We can't touch you. They basically called and said, sorry, I can't do anything for you. And nor are we willing to even try. And that hurt because all of a sudden you try to aspire to this level of sport because, like Clayton says, if you're eating high on the hog, it's easier to eat high on the hog. It's a Southern way of saying when you're good, it's easier to stay good because you got all the help. Everybody's looking at you. You're getting all the grant money. You're doing all the good work. You're getting posted about things and whatnot. Everybody in your hometown actually remembers that you live there. But all of a sudden you get thrown out of the Olympics. Everybody forgets about you because they didn't post a damn team picture I was in. And that hurt. That really hurt because all of a sudden I aspire. I make all the sacrifice. I roll those dice like Clayton was talking about to get to that level. And they're supposed to take care of you. But they don't. And they lie to you. And then they just turn away from you. And that hurts more than anything because this is a sport. I love it. I picked it. I didn't pick it for that. I picked it for all these other difficulties, which I'm totally willing to take on. Injury, heartache, sacrifice, losing. I'm good at all those things. That's fine. Being betrayed sucks. That being said, in 2022, we're not over. I'm not going to be the cuck that goes to Tokyo, gets thrown out of the village, and then have to go get the same vaccine that wouldn't help me to begin with back in 2022 because the World Championships are in Oregon. I'm the defending champion. I finished out the season in 2021 ranked 3, even though I didn't have Olympic points. And I said, well, they won't let me go anywhere. They get really good at following those damn rules in 2022, and all of a sudden everybody's got a vaccine mandate, and I'm not even allowed. Team USA Track and Field says, sorry, Sam, we won't give you a credential. You won't be able to get in the door. Your automatic entry into the World Championships is barred from you. And they said, all you got to do is go get this shot. And I said, I am a rebel, goddammit. I am not going to go do that shit just because you tell me I have to. I'm an athlete. I can do whatever the hell I want. And you're supposed to actually support me in that because I'm a good representative for this country. I put the team colors on my back proudly. I compete well oftentimes. And I have a good thing to say about Team USA when they treat me well. And they said, nope, sorry. We're not even going to give you a quote. That being said, I think it was a God thing. I really do. Because I injured my knee in 2020. And it healed. It was a torn meniscus, and it was fine. It was calcified. It was good. I stopped doing running workouts in 2020. I just said, I'll stay on the runway. But in 2022, I did a cold weather meet at home, trying to stay fit. And all of a sudden, it's like a finger just cut that meniscus. And so it was the same time that I was like, damn it, I am failing my family if I don't get this damn shot. And I'll go to the World Championship. I have all this stuff that up for grabs. It's for free if I just go take the damn shot. Maybe I'll go do it. And then, boom, the next day I tear that meniscus again. And then all of a sudden my decision's made for me. I don't have to go do this shit. It was like a gift saying, Sam, I'm going to help you be courageous in this situation so that you can be courageous in the future. You don't get some damn long blood clot kill you like my boy Krauser or something like that. Now, I don't have any corroboration of that whatsoever. But that being said, I go through 2023 after not even having the ranking points ranked off the list because I don't have enough meets and whatnot. And everybody knows I'm in island number 2, like we were talking about. I go to every meet. They know I'm on the circuit all the time. It's impossible to miss me. Been there for 8 years at this point. And when I get back on the scene in 2023, hey man, I get 4th at nationals. That's gangster. I don't go to Budapest, and but it doesn't mean I stop my season. I finish the season 4th on the list, even without championship points, and to make sure my relevance is still there. And I come back in 2024. There's no appearance fees, ain't nothing. You got no medals, even though you're double world champion. You never lost the world championships. And you come back to sport, you gotta grind from zero. I gotta grind from zero all of a sudden. And then you're like, all right, well, shit. The Olympics screwed me last time. Why should I even go back? I've already started a landscape business, had a baby, built a house, building a training center right now with all these other details that weren't related to track whatsoever. I said, I'm doing the thing Clayton was talking about. I'm gonna go make some money in a lot easier way, which is not on the track. And I said, well, now, dang it. I gotta try. And it ended up working out. I just came up aces every time. Roll those dice, they came up 6s. And I'm like, dang, that is just crazy how you go from all of a sudden they won't even let you in. Now everybody knows in this sport, they only give you a quote if you're winning. They only care what your opinion is if you're winning.
Yeah, you couldn't be denied at that point.
You
Yeah.
can't be denied your opinion. And they had to listen to me at the trials. And there's all this other buzz around, Sam, don't say that shit. Don't say that shit. All of a sudden, don't say that shit. And I said, what? What happened to me? I just said, every other person over here, you're worried about their mental health. And here I am. Obviously, you can hear my mental health just dripping off my tongue, that it's in shambles because of how you people treated me. And you're telling me to shut up? I said, I'm going to come at you with blades at that point. I said, I'm not healthy. I got all kinds of disorders. Help me. If you're Team USA, help me. But no, you don't want to. You don't want to do that. You don't want to face the music. You even let Noah Lyles run with COVID at the Olympics. Why does that make sense? You're going to screw me, but let him run just because he's the it boy. I hope he got the world's finest medical attention, because that's what Team USA should afford you. Maybe they fixed their mistake, and it feels more like an Olympics. But there's my story right there. And go ahead and seize a silver medal, and nobody really wants to quote me because I didn't win. Who cares? Fuck the Olympics.
That was the second best 6 minutes of our live stream show.
Well, I think
That's the end of the show, folks. We're going to call it.
This is the hottest 400 I think that you've ever been in, right here.
I think that's Sam. That's raw and real, because no one really knows the story other than what Sam is saying, right? So like, it's important for him to say what happened and what's going on, and obviously, how he feels, because even my case, Sam, like I showed up a day after the team picture, right? So like, because they didn't let us come until like a certain amount of time. So I was pretty bummed, right? I was pretty bummed, one, that you were out of the Olympics because of COVID, and two, that I missed the team picture, to begin with. And so, with this whole like debacle, like in media, and people are telling the stories of what happens, and like everybody's running around, maybe doing like
they sit me in a holding cell for 3 hours, and they poke me and prod me and interrogate me. Who are your friends, Kendricks? Who are you rooming with? Who'd you spit on? Who'd you make out with? Who are all these people? Because we're gonna lock their asses up too. And I said, no, fuck you. Because that's what you're supposed to do with Team America. They're supposed to not leave me behind, and I'm supposed to say fuck you under the interrogation of trying to narc on my friends and things like that. I said, that's what's the problem. This is Team USA. This ain't Team USA anymore. It's a shambles. Nobody in the stands. They ain't no damn Olympics.
I was waiting for the call because, Sam, I think I iced with you and, is it Chris or whatever?
Yeah.
We were like 4 or 5 months icing, like 24 hours before you got yanked out.
You're not a person anymore if you're sick? No.
I was waiting on the call.
You weren't going to get narked
Were you
on.
in contact with Sam?
How about me?
No, I was absolutely not half naked hanging out in an ice bath 24 hours ago with Sam. I would absolutely never do that.
You know what? No, they post the team pictures and they take it down right in the middle of everybody. And I said, I passed all your tests coming in. I passed every test.
So, obviously you got COVID somewhere.
I didn't get COVID. I ain't sick.
Or it's a false positive.
And what amount of rights are they allowed to take from you if they are sick? All of a sudden they're allowed to put you in isolation, not give you a doctor, and then because of your health? No, it's all because of fucking optics is what it is. It ain't because of your health. COVID is not a death sentence. It's not supposed to be a reason to lock me up. But everybody says, oh, you had COVID. We had to have separate. No, you don't. If grandma gets sick, you don't lock her down and kill her with drugs. You take care of her and shit like that. I don't get to lose anything because I was sick or feigned sickness.
We still have
get
that.
to take anything away from me.
Sam, we still have that whole Zoom video that you and I did back then. So
and I wasn't angry back then because of other reasons, because I was trying to bite my tongue and be positive. But fuck that, I won't do that anymore.
I wanna first of all, so everyone knows this is seven Olympic events here between 3 guys right here. So all things Olympics, all things track and field is sitting right here in front of us.
Maybe we should get off Tokyo. I'm gonna get hot and heavy. That's not
Yeah,
Let's get off.
okay.
Let's do this, Sam. How about you just tell me what you enjoyed about this last Olympics in Paris? What did you have? What did you enjoy? What did you do? You look like you're having fun in the competition. Let's start with that.
I was. It was everything I thought an Olympics should be. It was everything I thought an Olympics should be. I don't say that to make anybody jealous, but when you walk in for the prelim and there's 75,000 happy people in the stadium with a ticket app that works, and the sun is shining, and obviously the officials aren't ready for the amount of guys coming in ready to compete and things like that. And there's always delays and whatnot because that's just track. But it felt like I walked the warm up from the medical, from the village, from all those things. I'm like, with just the little sheen of struggle on it, felt like an Olympics, like what I thought it would feel like a long time ago. Rio didn't feel like it. Tokyo sure didn't feel like it. But Paris did, and I'm hoping they stick to that because I said that in the trials. I said I hope we've turned the leaf over, and one of the funnest things I got to do was we went to the HPC. I love the HPC. That's one of my favorite things to do is just go chill out there because that's where that's where the real mercenaries are. I always think
What's
What's the
HPC?
HBC?
Yeah.
HPC is the high performance center
Yeah.
where all Team USA athletes go hang out or do their training, and it's separate from all the other nations. I'm a big America first guy. I said, I think we can do anything better than anybody if we just put our heart and soul to it. But I get there, and I said, on Tuesday, I want to have a practice, a pole vault practice. And we get out to the HPC. This is brand new track. Team USA brings in brand new rubber and a whole litany of other things just to give the facilities as a gift for letting Team USA come there. And then they pay them handsomely for letting Team USA take over their campus for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. But I go over to the pole vault setup and I look up at the standards and I said, those are messed up. And it turned out that the uprights that are supposed to hold the crossbar are 2 feet too wide. And so you can't hold a crossbar on them. And I got to yeah, it was they were bolted in the ground, and the outdoor track installed too wide. And I love making fun of the French, and so I'm going to totally make fun of the French guys that installed that. That was so much fun because I was out there with an adjustable wrench just cussing the Frenchmen and Team USA for not knowing what the hell to do with pole vault and things like that. So I had a great time. But I was all sweaty before I put my bar up, and they said, Sam, just use a bungee. It'll stretch across. I'm like, this is the gosh dang Olympics. I ain't putting a bungee up. I'm with a bar out here. It's a serious. This is death row. But also when I got out to the final, I turn around and I look up and there's a whole bunch of different guys. I mean, I know them all jumped together all years and years. They're young guys. And I said, this is a very different looking final, but everybody was so serious. And I said, guys, why is it so death row out here? Dang, chill out. Mato's going to win, and we'll fight for second and third. Let's just have a chill time out here, okay? The track was smoking fast. The crowd was pumping and rocking. The French are always a little bit weird, but I love them. We lost a lot of good men along the way, so let's at least try to enjoy it a little bit. Which, it really did feel like it felt like I thought an Olympics would be, and different from the rest of the track. So that third island I talked about in the beginning, I think that moniker holds true in a positive way for this time. So that was really cool.
So you're hoping they use that blueprint for LA 28?
You can't use another one. You really can't, because then don't do all the pagan shit you did in the opening ceremony. But if you can not use the athletes to politicize whatever godless agenda that you have going on, just do no agenda. Let it be diplomacy through sport. Then you will have achieved a perfect Olympics, and that will be cool.
What was your experience of the food out there? Like, because we've all been to Olympics, right? So we kind of know how it goes. Like the first few days you get there, food is on point, locked in, and then it kind of like as the game goes, kind of fades off. And we, as the track, like you said, the HBC, the track athletes usually end up just eating there. Right?
Eating there, yeah.
You go there for lunch and dinner.
My theory is that they doubled up on volunteers, and they were cycling them in and out, right?
Oh, okay.
Volunteer fatigue was the worst part about Rio. All of a sudden, the volunteers were hungry, and they were just not there. They weren't able to help. You didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
I wasn't in Tokyo long enough to figure out any of that other stuff, but I think they had twice as many volunteers as they needed, and they all had great T-shirts, and they always had a box of food in their hand, and they were all very, very happy, which made all the food just as good when I went there as when I left. Some people complained about it, but they're complainers.
Everybody complains, yeah.
They're just complainers. I said, I picked up a plate. I didn't pick up that damn tray. Everybody walks around with their tray sliding things around. I just picked up a plate, and I went from station to station, eating what I wanted to, and just walking around and eating and talking to people. And that was one of the most fun things about it. Those special muffins everybody was talking about and raving around on TikTok. And, we snuck Chris's wife into the village so she could go taste the Michelin 3-star chef that had some really goated hors d'oeuvres at his little food truck over there. And they had a different guy every day. And a Costa coffee cart. And they got better at making coffee the whole time we were there, which was pretty good. So they got some brand new volunteers, and they were actually good at making good baristas by the end. And we were right next to the front entrance and the buses and things like that, because Team USA just muscles in and says, we're going to get whatever we want out of it. And watching track from the team room, this is the most fun thing ever.
How cool is that, Sam? Tell us about that. Like, who are you hanging out with, and you guys are just sitting watching all the events, right?
Yeah, and you have a credential, you can go anywhere, but really the track athletes want to watch track. right? And we're there. I'm there. I'm jumping on the first half of the games and things like that. And so if on the day of my final, I'm like, dang, I'm only sleeping like 6 hours a night anyway. I can't really sleep. Not that I wasn't getting rest, and I'm losing weight, which is a good thing. I needed to lean out a little bit. And I'm like, I'm just going to go to the team room and eat some PB&Js and figure out what's on the TV. And there's always it just so happened that Raven Saunders was sleeping on the couch in the team room like every time I walked in. And one day I poked her. I'm like, Raven, do you have a room? She says, yeah, but it's hot in there. So she came down to the team room every day. And we just pick up something to watch. Who are we cheering for? Because that's what the Olympics is. Who are we cheering for? Who's our guy? It doesn't mean if I didn't know him from Adam. I was a team captain one year. And I was like, I think it's my prerogative to know who everybody is on the team. I'm gonna figure out and sit there. And when the heck else are you gonna have a chance to sit next to Anna Hall and watch something on TV? I'm like, never. So I'm gonna go down to the tea room and test my luck at who I'm gonna watch the games with, which is pretty cool. And Rio, we had a TV about this big in the VIZIO room downstairs, and I just watched the Olympics on that. It was a ton of fun.
Did you get to go to any events live, or did you decide to see anything live?
I was gonna go to the equestrian, but then I saw it was in Versailles, like an hour away, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dang. But the tickets were super expensive and confusing. I think in Rio I went to a volleyball match one time, but there was less walk traffic in Rio, right? There was no walk traffic in Tokyo, obviously, but the at this time it was so packed. I went into the city a couple times to meet family and whatnot, rendezvous at the Louvre and stuff, and go do a photo shoot and things like that. And I was like, it's enough energy. It was busy. It was real busy. No, it wasn't necessarily that. And there's a bomb threat every 3 blocks or something like that. And and the weirdest thing is how pretty all the cops were, right? It was like, I went to Paris the month before, and they were going around in packs of like 20 or 30 training cops all around the city and things like that. And I was only there for 4 days, but you couldn't miss them. You couldn't freaking miss them. Casey Lightfoot said, I got to go to the tower. He didn't make the squad. He says, I got to go to the tower. I got to get a picture of my boys. I'm like, all right, we're going. But on the way there, I must have seen 400 cops. But around the village, they're all 20 to 28-year-old girls with long braided hair and guys with perfectly manicured beards that are perfectly fit and things like that. I'm like, dang, are these guys actors? Or are they like the A squad? Because, dang, I mean, they're always paired up, a girl and a guy, and there weren't no donut cops, and there was always an old guy that looked like he was an old special forces guy sitting up in a van with this. And I see shit like this. So, I just how I was trained to do it. And he's always sitting up in the van. And they all got fresh G36s, and they all got fresh H&Ks. I mean, these things haven't fired a shot. I'm like, you guys are actors. You got to be. You're way too pretty to be cops, and those things have not been shot before. And I know guns, and I know cops. And all those girls are way too pretty to be in uniform. Like, what is going on here?
That is hilarious.
All right, so you said Olympic Village, food's good. What were some of your insight? And Clayton, I want you to answer some of this too. Like, what were some of your insights on the races the last few days? Like, good races, upsets.
The elephant in the room, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder, Clayton. The elephant in the room is, what did they do to the track, right? Because everybody's got fresh shoes now and things like that, but they actually did something special with this track. And Heath Baldwin, champion in the decathlon, he's my roommate. He comes in after day one of the decathlon and just lays on the floor because it's nice and cool. He's tired. He says, fair warning, the runways are fast as shit. I had to move my long jump run back 5 feet. And I'm a jumper myself. And I'm like, this is really critical information for me and things like that. I'm like, dang, Heath, you just let yourself go like that is what I wanted to say. But at the same time, he had a point. The track had some extra bounce to it, and I read an article that it was 2% faster than the track in Tokyo. And Chris Nelson told me that the track in Tokyo, which I didn't get to run on, was the fastest track he ever ran on. So I was like, okay, part of your job as an athlete is trying to suss out all the rumor to what's going to apply to me. And the track was fast, and it screwed a lot of people up. Case in point, hurdlers and things like that.
Oh yeah, hurdles. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but it doesn't really help.
It doesn't help, right?
No.
It doesn't. You're stepping farther on accident, and you're like, oh, dang, I'm rushing. I saw G-Hall. G-Hall was on the last hurdle. Stop, don't hit the hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that's an interesting thing.
Devon beat him. boom, right on 7, 8, 9, baby.
That's the interesting thing about the hurdle event, right? Like, all the world records are getting pretty much close to smashed the last, like other than the 1 and the 2. Let's just, because the 1 and the 2, Usain Bolt, he's way ahead of everybody. But the hurdle record, right, since like 1970,
it's really hard to break.
It's been like it's only improved by 1700s, and even like the most recent record that was broke, like the most recent break, was the biggest jump in history of 700s, right? Because it was like 90, 99, then 97, then 92, then 91, then 90, then 89, then 88. Because you just can't improve that much. It's just how
it's like a tangential record eventually. I was just thinking about that last night, and I said the hurdle record can't get that fast based on who's running it. That's crazy.
Really, here's the simple science of how to break the world record, because people are going to talk about who's faster, who's this and that. It's really just who could be 500 to a 10 faster to hurdle 1, and who can be 500 to a 10 faster off a hurdle 10. That's where you make it up most of the time, because the touchdown times are all pretty close.
Touchdown.
So like from hurdle, like you land from hurdle 8, and then when you land on hurdle 9, it's a touchdown time. All those are going to be like 0.95 to 0.98 if you're an elite guy. So when you're running your fastest, and that's just how it's been forever.
So Devon, then it's the speed generated to hurdle 1, and then everything's about the same.
And then it's off a hurdle 10, which you can see it in both spectrums, like Grant Holloway, right? Like he's been so dominant in the 60, and we see it every day with the start. Like he's just so dominant in the start. And then in my race, like my hurdle off a hurdle 10 has been the fastest in the world too. So like that's where we kind of bridge the gap. That's what the interview should be about, which I think is epic. But we'll see next year.
Clayton, you see anything?
Let's talk about. I don't know if you guys talked about this the other night, but I feel like the 1500, obviously going in as being.
You gotta explain that to me. That's like
going in being race of the Olympics potentially. I had the hype.
I agree.
So people kept asking me, being most trainer, like who's your pick? And I said, like, the logical smart choice, I think, is you take Jakob. Like, you can't bet against Jakob. Like, he'd done nothing to prove that he was not the pick. If you're going with your gut, you're going with your heart, you take Kerr. But I said if one of those two guys slip up, like, there's at least a U.S. medal, if not 2, and there's a U.S. win on the deck. Like, those dudes look good. Like, all 3 of them. I think Cole had an edge. I think Yard was right there, and I think Hobbs could have slid in any sort of way if Hobbs had the right day, and which he did have a great day. 1.8 seconds off of first and being 5th in the Olympics is like centimeters in any other event.
Can you explain to me why Cole Hawker looks good? I don't understand. Is he like Leo Manzano? Is he just run? I don't know what about Cole Hawker looks good. He just fast as shit. I don't understand how he runs fast. Explain that to me.
I think it kind of. I think middle distance running is less of a technique than it is like a science. Like, it's almost like what he does in training, and you play to your strengths way more than anybody knows. Like, so like for me, for example, like I'm more of a strength 800 guy. We played to my strength of being more of a strength 800 meter guy, and playing to the rounds, and playing to more of an even split, and all of these things that are my strengths. Obviously recognizing there's weaknesses in my game, that I'm not necessarily as pure raw speed good as other guys. So we have to kind of touch on that, but at the same time, like, you got to kind of work on those other things. Like, Cole is just this pure grinded out. Like, he's got the strength, he's got decent foot speed, he's got the clothes, but like, if he's in the right spot, he's tactically sound. Like, he does all the things right to be in the right spot when he needs to be. And
they don't look the part to me, though. I don't know why that is.
Like, there's no like certain science to it. There's no certain technique to it. There's no certain way to do it. Like, there's models to do it, but like, it's not like hurdles, or it's not like pole vault, where technically if you like don't do something right, like you just can't do it. Like, if you're off a quarter of a second on the first like 400, doesn't mean you're out of it. It just means you saved a little bit of energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was off the beginning, and he just kind of stayed in it. And he was just, when he ran up the back of Jakob, I said he's 100% medaling. I was like, he's probably going to win the race as long as lane 1 opens up.
Where was that?
Right there. I'm sitting right there. And I'm telling you, I'm like, as soon as he came around with the 150 to go, I'm like, now keep in mind, I don't know how fast a fast race is in the 1500. So, I remember when Centro won in 16 because he just sprinted the piss out of him at the end. I'm like, okay, well, that was a slow race won by a sprint 1500 guy, which I'm assuming is a different kind of runner than you are. You're describing yourself, Clayton. And he didn't win again, I don't think. But I don't know how fast. How did he have more in the tank than these other guys at the end of the race? It just seemed like he bumped off of Jakob at the end, and then he kept going. I'm like, how do you have two pushes? I don't get that.
It's all off of training and it comes down to like pure grit. Like,
and Jakob didn't have it.
There's a certain point where your body just like shuts down in the middle of this race, and like it doesn't matter how tough you are, it doesn't matter how like hard you're in it, like your body just like quits on you. Like there's no other way to like describe it. And like the more you can take a workout to push that further. So I say the 800 and 1500 is like, it's like putting your hand on a hot stove, and how long can you hold it on a hot stove? And like the longer you hold it on there, the more you get blisters, the more you callus to it, the more you get used to it, the longer you can hold it on there. But if you don't do it very often in training, if you don't put your hand on a hot stove in training very often, like once you go to do it in the race, it ain't there. Like I literally just had this conversation with my coach. I said, Coach, it's going to be over a month between like my last race and when I'm going to race again potentially. I said, we got to do something where we always call it unstick. We need to pull everything apart again. We need to just kind of blow the doors off of it. We need to run some hard 400s, some hard 500s, something at race pace to just get those barn doors open and just get that blood flowing again. Because
we say burn the
you don't do that training. Like you guys day in and day out, like you run over hurdles, you jump over the bar, you do the technique, you're repetitively doing the same thing.
Yeah, you're forced to
do the same thing for the 800 and middle distance. Like you got to go run 10, 15-mile runs. You got to go run some 200-meter sprints. You got to go hit the weight room. You got to do techniques. You got to do thousands. You got to do hundreds, 200s. Like everything goes into that training for middle distance. It's not just one thing that works for everybody. And Ben, his coach Thomas, has been great for him since college, and he found it. I mean, Yard was right there. I mean, Yard had a great race. So that on running group had a little bit of a struggle, but Yard pulled it together there for them. And I mean, like I said, 5th place was 1.8 seconds out of one of the fastest races in the world ever in an Olympic final. And again, it's not a diamond league where there's pace lights on the ground. There's a pacer break in the wind for them, and they're not running fresh like you are in Monaco. When you go line up in Monaco, it's 12 guys on the line with pacers, with pace lights, perfectly strategically planned, ready to run fast. Like that is the number one goal. When you show up in the Olympic line, it's the number one goal is to win gold. It doesn't matter how fast you run, Centro being the example. It doesn't matter how fast you run, you're still the Olympic champion. It doesn't matter how high you jumped, still the Olympic champion.
Right.
For them to do it on the 3rd day, that's why I think the 800-meter world record is one of the most impressive world records ever to be broken. Soloed 140.9 on the third run in 4 days. Like that to me is just like people don't process that. They're like things like that. I mean, the 100, 200 is a perfect prime example. Those guys putting 6 races in across those days is like extremely impressive for those guys to kind of do those kind of things. People don't see that, but it all goes back to the training. It's what you train to do. You train for 3 races in 5 days. You train for 3 races in 4 days. Your coach and you to be at that level aren't like, oh shoot, the Olympic schedule, we forgot about it. It's August. No, I remember like when I first started working with Coach Labady in like college, it was we got to do 2 races in 3 days at NCAAs. We started doing workout number 1, off day, workout number 2, and that has stayed something where I've done workout, off day, workout for my entire career. Now it's not hard, easy, hard. Like it's hard, moderate, easy, moderate,
hard.
Like that. Like the sequencing doesn't necessarily go in place because races don't always go like that. You know, sometimes the semifinal is a little harder than the final, or it's a different type of system you're using. So it's a whole different madness behind it, like scientific madness that coaches and athletes put together on middle distance.
Yeah, huge plan too. Like you gotta.
At the same time, I just don't know where it comes from. It's like watching Quincy Hall run the 400. I just don't know where it comes from. You know.
Well, that's
You're
the thing
asking
too.
the questions I asked him.
Well, even then,
All right, Bob, you know what I mean.
43, 45 for Quincy Hall, right on the 3rd 400.
But I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, oh, this guy's running with his ears. He's tired. I'm like, no, he's not. It's just the way he runs.
No, it's just built different.
He's built different.
But yeah, I mean, like Clayton said, you practice that, you train that, you get so specific as to like even in Tokyo, the 110 hurdles had 2 rounds at 9 a.m. 2 of our rounds, our first round and our second round, were at 9 a.m. So I was going with my coach, and I was getting up at 5 a.m. doing a shakeout and then showing up to training at 7:30, so that by the time I was warmed up, I was ready to train at 9.
I literally mimicked even this year the trial schedule.
Yeah.
The 8 key workouts leading in the trials were all alternating between the semifinal and the final start times.
Yeah. So
Yep.
and
I obviously, so if I was racing at 4:30 and organized race at 4:30 here, practice at 4:30 here, because exactly what you said. I woke up, I knew what I was going to eat for breakfast. So when I showed up in Eugene at trials, I would text my crew the night before. I said, this is my schedule for the next day. This is what's worked before. This is when I'm going to eat. This is when I'm going to shake out. This is when I need treatment. Like, this is what I did 8 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. It's what I started. This is what's ingrained. Like, all those things you think about, because it's crazy. I don't know. I feel like in the sprints, it's obviously microseconds are multiplied, like that lean is multiplied, from the difference between literally being 5th or 6th in that final to winning is literally a lean. Like, the technicality of leaning could cost you, 1st or 6th in that race, but it's just magnified even more of like in that 1500, like second looks huge, but it's really not. Like, it's such a minor difference when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Hey Sam, yesterday we had this Olympic shooter on. Her name is Kim Rode. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She's a 6-time Olympic medalist. So I think she's the only woman who have won a medal in 6 straight Olympics, and she's like a skeet shooter. And
I remember her in Rio.
Yeah. So we had her on yesterday. It was fascinating, but what you guys are talking about kind of reminds me of her. Like, she has swagger like you wouldn't believe. I mean, she's winning all the time, right?
She gets paid for not running a step. What's better than that?
Yeah. So she said, talking about, what does it take to be the greatest and all that stuff. And one of the key things she said is, I set my own standard. If my standard is against the person I'm competing against, or this person or that person, they don't do well, I'm not going to do well. She's like, because once you get to this kind of level, no one else is there. So you have to set your own standard to make your own greatness. Yeah. And she's like, and then it was, everything's about practice. She's like, I shoot 500 to 1,000 rounds every day. So, she shoots so much that she can't lift her arm up more than this.
Because she's tired, or
she's tired, or she got too many medals hanging on. I don't know.
Exactly. But talk about that just a little bit, all you guys, like this idea of you setting your own standard. It's all about the practice. When you get into that event, then you're executing what you've worked on for so long.
Well, amateurs train till they get it right. Professionals train till they can't get it wrong. But that also must mean you can't be moving your target all the dang time. And I know Miss Trap Shooter, Shotgun Shooter, her targets are always moving, but you know what I mean. Keeping in mind that athletes make goals very poorly sometimes because they keep changing what exactly they're shooting for. And sometimes, when you're making a plan, you got to kind of see it through for good or for ill. Like Clayton was saying, my workouts are going to be very indicative, but I got to make a commitment to what I'm doing now for a month in the future. Now, for me, after so many years of doing that, I'm like, this sucks. It is really hard to amp up to the level in training that I need to, because I'm honestly not a great training jumper. And just personally, my buddy KC, he's a stunning training jumper, except he complains about 99% of the time. That being said, I'm a very obliging kind of guy when it comes to athletics. I do really well when I think you're going to beat me, right? Because then it actually does something chemically to me that makes me actually care about doing better. Otherwise, I might be allowed to not care that much. But with a lot of training and discipline, otherwise beaten into me by people that aren't me, because I ain't that smart, I could trick myself into thinking that I was competing. And then when I do have people there with me, which is why I built the training center, it's really just a guise in order to get other people here to train with me, because at least I get one good workout of the week, because the rest of the time I'm dealing with baby and family and things like that. But with one good workout a week and this thing between my ears here, I can simulate what it feels like to be in an Olympic final. I'm good at that, right? The visualization, the internal pressure, making practice feel like competition and such. But I can't do it that often. So what do? Not something Clayton can do, not something a lot of athletes can do. Pole vaulters can do this. I can go from meet to meet to meet to meet, because I get the chance to start low and finish high every day. And I get to run it through the whole spectrum. And I'm making money at the same time. So it's super positive. You get great training. You got support while you're out there, and you're getting paid. So, and I would prefer not to practice. I would prefer to go compete. So the moment I feel like I'm ready to jump into competition, I want to go hit the street. Because as soon as I get there with other guys that I think are going to beat me with a little bit of fitness, yeah, I'll pay for it with soreness on the backside. I know it. But it's like a Zenkai boost from Dragon Ball Z. It's just going to help me out a lot. And I can feed off that a lot more. And that's my superpower in sport, where Clayton says he's a very strength 800-meter guy. I get stronger through competing. Usually athletes are not that way.
Clayton, you said it the other day on the show, right? Where you're like, if I could just race.
Yeah.
I'm almost like as much as like training is so important, like, and I have to do it, and I go through and I do it, and I'm, I hate training too. Like I'm not a good trainer either. Like if coach gives me a workout, like if you stack my workouts against other guys who ran 142.9, their workouts are significantly better than mine. And it even goes.
I know my bronze buddy here was like
there's
me. I
so
knew
many
it.
meets.
I knew
Too.
he was
The
like
other
me.
thing is like, even within caliber of meets, it is so hard for me to get up for like, no offense to like low level meets, but like a low level meet, like it is so hard for me to like just get up for it. And that's why I think like my success rate at trials and USAs and major meets is so much higher than I could go to a random meet in Europe and be like 7th, and then the following week I'll be like 2nd in Diamond League or 3rd in Diamond League like 3 days later. Like it's just like it's a chemistry thing, like Sam said. Like I'm competitive. Like we've talked about this, Bob, in here. Like I've set a very like double-edged sword. Like I shoot for the best, and if like I don't hit the best, there's no like, well, like I ran really well this season. Like it was good. Like this season, like I ran okay. It's a great season. Like this season sucked. Like I missed the Olympic team. I didn't medal. I didn't make the Olympic final. Like there's no anti-fans, but it wasn't like, oh, I was 6th in the U.S. Like it's cool to be there. Like no, like trials was a failure. Like I didn't make the Olympic. Like that's the sword I live on. Like I live on this very sharp. Like I want to be the best in the world. Otherwise, like this isn't really like this is like. I enjoy track. I enjoy competing. I enjoy the sport. Like I love the sport. And I've been a fan every day it's been on. But like for me as an athlete, like this is a job. Like I want to be the best I can be at it. I want to earn the most money I can for my family. I want to earn the most accolades I can as an athlete. Like that's what I do. Like there's no like, a good training run today. We'll see you tomorrow. It's like, well, that was a good training run to set me up to be an Olympic champion.
It sets you up to your successes feel great, and you're like, dang, I did it. And then when you lose it, it hurts worse. That's called ego, baby. You got to have one.
Hey Sam, do you mind sticking around a few more minutes? Because these two guys got to leave in about 3 minutes.
Oh.
Could you stick around for 5?
I want to hear about Devon's training first.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah, I'm a little bit on both spectrums. I think I really enjoyed training. It's something that, kind of excites me in general, just getting after it. I think that's probably because my event is not necessarily easier, but like physiologically a little bit easier on the body, right? I'm just sprinting, doing like, I'm doing a sprint workout a week, a hurdle workout, and a plyo day, maybe 2 hurdle workouts. So I'm training 3-4 days a week. So like, volume's pretty low in terms of just distance running and mostly just high intensity. So, I can get up and get behind getting after that, especially if I know it's coming, right? Like coach is like, all right, we're doing a big flying 30 today. We're going to test your flying 30. And I'm like, all right, well, shit, I just did the math for Noah Lyles, and the flying 30 was 250, 252 or 251 or whatever it was. Like my goal today is to run 265 or 260, and so like I'd get up and, get mentally motivated for that. Also, in the past I've done well at just in competition, and I think I just mostly hold a high standard of myself in terms of just being better than most people or better than everybody when I'm healthy and going out there. And then secondly, it's like Sam says, this is how we make a living, running track and going to these competitions, especially as a grinder. And like you go to a Diamond League and someone beats you, it's like they just took $4,000 from you. Like they stole it. I'm pissed. Right. And that's how it goes. All right. Like in my head, I'm already spending that money. Like I'm like, all right, I got 3 Diamond Leagues coming soon. Like, I want this new, I need a new TV. Like
I
my
pay
first
bills
year
on
pro.
third. I pay bills on third. If I
Yeah.
win, I win is for me, baby.
Yeah. So like, and that's the thing. Like I remember my first year pro, I built the pool in my house, and my pool was $22,000, and so I was like, shit, I got to win 2 diamond leagues and
You're a cool guy.
not fall in one of them, and that's just kind of how it goes. Like it's not like it's not like materialistic, but it's how we make a
You gotta
living. It's
find
not
something
like
to motivate you.
yeah, it's not like I'm doing like I am doing it for fun. Like I would do it for free if I could survive. Like if Bob came to me right now and said, "Hey,
one of
Dev,"
those.
no, hear me out. If Bob said, "Hey, Dev, I got this nice place in Phoenix, Arizona. You can live in for free, and I have a chef going to come over and make you food every day, and I got a physio that can work on you twice a week, and I can pay for your travel and your what's it called? Would you do that?" I'd be like, "Yeah, for a couple years." Like win a couple medals, do that. But like it is a way we make money, and it's the realism of the business is you got to compete. Like you got it, like you said, unless you're like the top tier where you can race once at the trials, once at the Olympics, which is fine. Like if that's what you want to do and you get paid from all your sponsors, great. Like that's more power to you. But I do like competing in my events. I think all of our events are exciting, right? The 800, the pole vault, and the 110s are probably one on the higher end of the more exciting events, and so people like to see me compete. I was training today, and the guys at the gym were like, "Man, I watched the hurdles yesterday, dude. Like, you would have got that, and that's cool because they're fans, one of track, and then two of me. So like, obviously, I'm doing something right.
That's cool.
So, all right, boys. Yeah, I gotta go. So
Yeah, same. I'm
Bob, you got the shout outs today.
Yeah, Sam, can you stick around for like 5-10 minutes? You good? All right.
All right,
Clayton,
Sam.
Dev,
Appreciate you guys.
awesome show.
Congrats on
Guys.
everything, Sam. Nice gentleman.
Thank you, boys. Good talking to you.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Sam, that was like, I couldn't end the show just signing you off that quick. You're too fun to talk with once you get going, man. The first thing I want to ask you is, what question haven't you been asked that you should have been asked that nobody asked you?
The elephant in the room is why. What's special about winning silver? Is that not? Is nobody asked me? Hi, Sam. Are you proud of your medal and things like that?
Really? No one said that?
No. Nobody asked me anything about track. Nobody asked me anything. What did you do special to win your gold medal? Nobody asked me about track. It sucks.
Wow.
What's special? What was different? How was this one cool? They all suck. Suck.
Here's what I was amazed, and our whole family is so into especially the athletes that I know and are close to me, like you.
I'm bringing my wife over here. She's sitting over here in the wings. Listen to me.
Come on in.
Bring chair.
But Sam, what you have gone through. Hey.
Hello.
What you have gone through and what you accomplished in this last, I'm going to characterize it as like 18 months, but it's more than that. It's incredible. Like, it's to see you jump in as strong as you were, and you were so good leading into this, and I'm like, damn, I think Sam's winning this thing. Like, it was so exciting. I don't think people know what they witnessed because all that you've gone through. So tell us about that feeling of having man, I got a silver medal, and I've been through a lot of stuff, let alone starting a whole family, that kind of thing.
Everybody's going through a bunch of stuff, right? But not everybody's going through something so blatantly Olympic related, travesty wise, right? I got beef with the Olympics and how I was treated in the past. That typically as an athlete, you see everybody's trying to support athletes on the social and as well as the psychological and the economic levels, right? We want to get athletes to the event happy, healthy, of good, solid spirit, and we want to get them to compete well, and we want to give them a quote because, their stories are important. Athletes do amazing things on accident. That's why we want to hear their stories. And not everybody's got just such. Everybody's so Olympic worshipers that they don't got beef with the Olympics. I got beef with everybody that's got something to do with the Olympics because of how they treated me, and I feel like I can forgive people, but I can't forgive an event that it was just blatantly look away from you. So that's my elephant in the room on the what makes it special. Because if I didn't win or a medal, then everybody's just like, well, everybody. I guess he wasn't strong enough to deal with it and things like that. But those aren't the people that matter, right? Everybody's an athlete. You got to realize that the people that matter are the ones that quit their job at the university to come help me run a training program and raise a baby and things like that. Like my wife here, who otherwise knows that I probably wouldn't have survived Tokyo without her support and things like that. Everybody's got support until you realize that they don't really have to do it. Like go do it. Because athletes are provers, right?
Yeah.
I even have to prove to my loving wife here that it's going to work out, because her job is to say, "Are you sure?" And my job is to say, "Absolutely," right?
Exactly.
And that makes me sound like what was the word?
I know exactly what you're saying. So that because you guys are partners in this, right?
And at the end of the day, I want to get past all of that because me and Leanne, we're cool. She's helped me deal with all this the crap off the track because on the track,
Yeah.
And then you got 1,000 other things you want to talk about that are just sprung off from that, relationships and otherwise. But my goal is to try to be done with all of that so that we can talk about track, because that's the fun part, right? That's the fun part. And the one question I didn't get at the Olympics is, how did you get to 595, and what did you do in their competition, and what was your plan going in? And nobody asked me any of those. That's what you're supposed to ask athletes.
Yeah.
Don't ask a rock and roll star about politics. Ask them about rock and roll.
Yeah.
And that'd be cool.
How did you pull it off, Sam? How did you pull this off? This was to me, this was like a miracle Olympics. And from the outside looking in, with just a little peek behind the curtain over the years, how did you pull it off?
Go ahead, honey. What do you think? I want to hear her opinion.
All right, how did Sam pull it off?
Up to the plate, honey. Up to the plate, honey. This is Bob, honey. This is Bob.
Hey.
Yeah, you're gonna get a way more eloquent answer from Sam.
I don't want an eloquent answer. I want a raw answer. I want the raw answer, and that's what Leanne gives. She gives the raw answer.
I mean, this stuff is hard. Like, people don't realize how hard it is what you guys do, and you need the support system. Without, right?
Well, go ahead.
No, it's been really nice, and we've been really fortunate for Sam to be able to build this training facility right next door, and that definitely satisfies some of my wishes to keep him a little more close to home instead of doing all those long weeks of traveling in Europe. So, and it's really nice to have other athletes and friends come in and jump with him here. And so I'm grateful that they take time and bring their families to Oxford so we can all train together, and keeps him home. So that makes me happy.
Keeps me mentally uninsane too, which is really trying to say. If I let it, everybody, I think you saw it earlier. I'm really not okay when it comes to track. I'm okay off the track, and that's my biggest grievance with the whole Tokyo thing, is that all of a sudden the place where I used to go step to be at peace, I'm now angry when I get out there because of the details. And when I get off the track, I'm happy and I have my loving family. But all of a sudden, I picked the world that all of a sudden screwed me, and I got to keep going back to that one, because that's how I built my life to do all the goal accomplishment that I wanted to, and I'm good at it. But when I step on the track, it hurt, because I realized everybody's not wanting to listen to me. I love my boy Mondo, but they just want to say, "Oh, well, we just got the best guy here. You can't beat him, so we'll just listen. We won't have to listen to you." But at the same time, winning a medal wasn't necessary. But it makes all of a sudden going back to the track a lot easier now. It makes it a lot easier for me, and it's I don't have to hold back anymore. I don't have to hold back, and I feel like that's really good for me. Because everybody in the past says, Sam, you got something in your craw for sure. Maybe you shouldn't talk about that. Everybody sees my eye rise when
I
I talk
love
about
it. I love it because this is you, Sam.
Well, it
It's
wasn't supposed to be me. It wasn't. That's the problem. It wasn't supposed to be me.
But you're a man of principle. That's the thing. You're a man of
I wasn't
principle.
supposed to
Yeah,
be angry, right? That they
right.
did that got done to me, and that
Yeah.
hurts. And I wasn't. I get looked at like damaged goods, and I keep saying that, but I didn't do that to myself. I'm now something different than I thought I would be because of how they treated me, and that affects people like my wife. Because all of a sudden, my heart rate goes up, and I get mad at people and things like that. I'm like, that's not me. That's not supposed to be me. And so I'm having to fight that battle of stoicism within myself all the time now. And so that's why I'm thankful for my wife. But I do always just eventually want to talk about track because track's cool. And I've always been a track athlete, and I've always loved the track itself. I've loved the facilities. I've loved the coaches. I've loved painting lines and cutting grass and taping ankles and buying spikes. And that's what I love about track. And I want to do that. And that's why I started doing this whole new thing, which eventually will be what I put myself into.
I couldn't believe it. Like, I literally was going through some of your posts and going, wait a minute, this is now? Like, I thought you were posting stuff from like months and months and months ago. But you were like, what other athlete leading up to the Olympics is like, oh, I'm going to build this whole facility? I'm like, only Sam does this. And like you're doing it. It's not like, oh, you hired a bunch of people to do it. You guys were doing it.
Well, all of a sudden you're like, I can't. I'm one of the best guys in history. You line up 99 of 100 guys of legends, I'll beat them. And with who I am now, I'm in my prime. But all of a sudden, I got no reward for it on the track whatsoever. And I said, there's something broken there. I'm now forced to go do something off the track for the benefit of my future, right? And that detracts, right? So I started this endeavor in 2023. I get fourth at the trials. Well, that's on me, right? I got to figure out what happened there, and I got a whole lot of other story about how that happens and things like that. Because I'm not supposed to be beatable like that, and that's not my arrogance. That's just my experience. But I said I got to start working on the future because I know exactly how fast this thing can all of a sudden go tits up, and I don't want that to be effective on my family like it was last time. I was just very lucky, like that my family was small and that we were okay and everything, because a world-shattering thing like all of a sudden you're now ousted from. People don't understand how your whole identity, you have to aim that at a goal as an athlete, and then all of a sudden it's taken away from you, and the whole world says you should be okay with it. It's for everyone else's good. And I said, no, I realized that everybody else in the whole world is fucking nuts. And I would never treat anybody like I was treated, and I would never let any of that happen. And all of a sudden I realized that actually maybe I didn't want to become the person I am now, but maybe that's exactly who I was meant to be. As somebody who is just reveling at this just situation, and maybe somebody's just got to be a fighter or a sayer or a talker or a builder or something against it, and just be a thorn in the side of it. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, And there's a million people that are rallying behind me, but they're all silent until you call for help. And I said, Sam Kendricks doesn't need help with isolation, right? He will be fine. Everybody knows that. And they're just super glad that it was a military trained guy that's got his head on his shoulders, that's not going to hang himself in his hotel room when he gets isolated and ousted from the Olympics and asked for a quote. They know I'll be okay. And they're okay that it happened to me because they know I'll be okay. But if it happened to somebody else, like one of my cute teammates and things like that, they wouldn't be equipped like me to deal with that. And there would be even more, or they would, and then they would think it was okay that happened to them.
Right.
Not.
Well, that's what I feel, Sam, just in like the intensity of your words and the passion. Like it's not okay. It's not okay. It's years later, but it's not okay. This is not how you operate. This is not how you, hey, you were captain of Team USA. They were glad to use your name, your image, your likeness, everything of who you are. That is who you are. You're not a kind of a caricature person in one part of your life and someone else in another. No, you're the same person. So they're happy to kind of use that of you when
Yeah,
it
and that's,
benefited them, right? But
you know,
that's the problem.
getting roped around doing the background dancers at the Today Show at the Olympics and things like that just loses all of its luster all of a sudden, and everybody's like, "Oh, I saw you on TV." It's like, I'm glad, But I was convicted to do something in direct opposition to the values that weren't upheld a long time ago, and I'm just very lucky that my wife lets me because
I think I want to know, Sam. Just explain, and both of you could kind of talk about it just a little bit, and then I'll let you guys go. The I loved visiting you so much, and you guys welcoming us into your home, feeding us. Right, there was like a torrential rain downpour.
Well, I have to redo it because everything's way better now and way more open. I got a whole freaking facility that you're gonna love when you come visit. I'm building guest houses and field houses and all that stuff.
Yeah, tell me of the proximity. So just to give people an idea. So when we came to see you, we stopped at a little flower shop so we could bring some flowers to say thank you for having us. And as soon as we walked in, they're both like, the people working, they were like, where are you guys from? And it was very quickly, are you shooting something with Sam? Within like 5 minutes. So Oxford, Mississippi, right? You're a legendary athlete and personality there, obviously. Ole Miss, right? Your dad, your brothers. I just saw a post where, what is it? Your younger brother's beating records that you held.
My little brother's going to come be a rebel now. And it's spelled REBEL. It means to rebel. So, something about being a rebel and rebelling against it, that all that goes in with my personality and things like that. And it's just a family thing. Much to my wife's chagrin, who's not naturally a rebel.
So tell me where the proximity is of this facility and kind of like, what's the layout? Because I'm sitting, let's say I'm standing in front, like on the other driveway, around the driveway, front of the house where you guys have the hill and on the left down there is the pole vault pit that I saw. Where proximity wise is this facility?
Oh, well, that's it. That's Sam has built out now 2 pole vault pits, just like a stone's throw away from our house. So I could be in the kitchen, look out the window, and see him practicing, which is pretty cool.
So it's down through what I thought was like the trees there in the front, or is it back toward the other?
Think of it this way: you guys drive all the way to the top of the hill. You're now at the front of the house.
Okay.
So imagine you kept driving along the ridge of the hill to the north, as naturally you would keep going up the driveway, up and across the front of the house.
Right.
And all of a sudden the sky opens up and there's 6 acres of training fields and stadium lights and apparatuses and garages and things like that. Everything you could possibly need to get ready for a pole vault session, put it on display very quickly and use all of your energy for your training is right there. It's not got the bluster of a university, but it's got the efficiency to get you the space, the comfortability, and the time you need to get the best training you could possibly get. And that's the number one reason I built it, is because I was having to go spend half of my energy to build and prep a practice at somebody else's facility. And I was giving away my best jumps, my best training, because nobody is equipped to support an Olympic level practice. Like I was telling you my story and frustrations about the High Performance Center, they don't know what it takes. And Clayton and Devon and everybody can totally relate to me in that regard. But it takes more than just setting up some hurdles and some nice track in order for me to get a workout like Devon. And it takes more than just an oval, which a lot of people have an oval, or a set distance to get a workout like Clayton. I'm a pole vaulter. There's a lot more that goes into it, and especially jumping high. And you just about have to be Mondo himself and have somebody just give you a $10 million facility and the key to it and train wherever you want all the time. And 10,000 people just fawning over your every word, which I don't have. I have a sweet community that I don't want to overtax with my needs and things like that. So, and end up just doing things for yourself. But we built it big enough because you saw the pole vault facility at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said, that's throttling. It's fine for me to just jump occasionally, but if I really want to jump well, I need to raise the stakes. And that's just what I think. Even if I only got 10 practices there, it raised the stakes for me in such a regard that it really helped stabilize me for the Olympics.
That's what I was going to ask you. How much so you had it built soon enough that you could get practices in before you went to Paris?
Yes. And I get to pick my hour. You know what Clayton was saying in the beginning when you have family and whatnot, but now I get to pick my hour to go train and pick my time, and it actually makes hyper efficient my training and whatnot, almost to a frustrating amount for my friends and competitors, because they say, Sam, you don't train. I was like, no, I'm just really good at making me good. And so then I can focus on a lot of other stuff now. I can focus on my family. I can focus on building stuff. I can focus on running a business. I can focus on my lovely wife here, who's probably red in the face, embarrassed for me asking her all these questions and telling her about our life to Bob Seals.
Sorry, Leanne. Sorry.
It's really good for me to talk about this stuff, because nobody asks me this crap the world over. And you know, everybody's this stuff that you're supposed to be good at, nobody cares about it anymore. You know, it used to be you had to jump high, you had to be good about talking about it, and you had to be good at coming home and managing money and all that stuff to be an athlete. But now they'll just find another guy. And he's not as good, but they're okay with that. And that's frustrating sometimes.
So, you know, normally my what were you thinking question goes to the athlete, but this time it's to your wife. So, what were you thinking when Sam locked in that silver medal?
It was really exciting. I mean, being able to be there and especially bring our son, I thought was a really special moment, even though he told me several times not to come. I was like, nope, it's too bad. I already ordered his passport. We're going to be there. It was really cool to be able to be there as a family and see it all happen, and just the level that all the competitors support one another. Like I was sitting right next to Des, and Des came and told me congratulations, and we were sitting right next.
Mondo's girlfriend.
Oh yeah, sorry, Mondo's girlfriend. The Turkish vaulters.
Ersu Sazma.
Yes. His parents were sitting right next to us, and then we had the German family on the other side, and so it was just cool.
Oleg Zarnikel, Boleg, Bokanda Libera.
To have everybody just kind of be together and just all congratulate each other and just like go through that exciting time of just watching all of their athletes compete and put their best on the line just all together is a really cool experience.
That's what's about. Yeah, you know, you went to Rio.
Yes.
What were you thinking when you went to Rio?
Oh, I was like way up in the nosebleeds, and I was like, yeah, look at that. So, I mean, the two, you're right. It is two very different experiences. And the Paris one, we felt like a really cool blended family all down there just cheering for everybody.
There's so much life that has to go in order to make that one memory happen. And I think that's why it's so special. But nobody asked me about that. Bob. Nobody asked me about that.
Sam, this is the journey. This is what we keep talking about on this show about. It's about the journey. It's not about, like, it's why I never call world's greatest to say, oh, it's a destination. You are the world's greatest and you have all the medals. And no, it's about the journey to be as great as you can be. And the journey includes everyone around you, all the heartache, all the sweat, all the tears, all the sacrifice, right? I mean, you could tell me more than me.
You got to teach me how to build a website like this. I love how you got this live stream. I've been trying to do websites and things like that, and I'm no good at it and whatnot.
These are our friends at FanFest. So we use a FanFest platform. A little shout out to them. They're actually based in Paris and here in New York. But we can stream to every other platform as well. So we're streaming to our YouTube channel and to Twitter. And,
so if I wanted to get a microphone and start ranting online, then I could use this.
Absolutely. I'll connect you.
Have our own little show.
Their CEO, yes.
Because when I build my field house, my desk is going to have a camera pointed at it. I'm going to have my notebook open. And I'm like, all right, what are we bitching about today? Because that is what my job is.
I want you streaming into all our channels.
Yes, that's what we're going to do.
By the way,
you need to come down here and help me set all that up. So I know.
I'll do that.
The problem is, of course, I'll pay for the trip, things like that. But I got to get you guys to help me do all that, because I'm not good at that.
Yeah,
and I already taxed her to the limit for doing all the stuff she's going to be doing. So
that's easy enough to do. We can do that in a heartbeat.
What young Fu at? Where's Mike Fu at? He's the audio guy.
Mike Fu knows all of that. He knows the right. Well, you have a good microphone already. He'll know everything of how to build.
I mean, I can
all
do
that
this.
out.
Is just a USB mic. I'm talking about how do I get it integrated with a push of a button, baby, and that's all I need. You know,
Yeah.
but I got to build it. I got to build. I'll let you know. I'll keep you apprised.
Yes.
At which stage I'm gonna need these things.
We'll get all the help you need on that. Devon was low key in it, so I got 2 shout outs to do. One to a streamer called Curiosity Stream. So they do like a lot of science documentaries and all this, but we did a show called The Science of Movement. We had Sandy do the pole vault episode. We had Devon do the hurdles episode. Krauser did shot put. But Devon's episode right now is like the #1 show on Curiosity Stream. So his episode was the first one we released, and it's the #1 completion rate. The show's doing great there. But the other place you can find us now is on VIZIO. So you see some of the VIZIO logo here. If you have a VIZIO TV, you can search for World's Greatest, see all the old content that we did with you, Sam, and all that kind of stuff. But just 2 shout outs there. And last to Hospital for Special Surgery, which sponsored the show, The Science of Movement. But Sam, we gotta talk offline to see what's up next, how we can start doing more work together. It sounds like first order of business is getting you live streaming and podcasting down from the field.
Well, I got to figure out. We'll do it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. The other thing is we never have a good ending to the show. Last Sunday we had so breakdancing is in the Olympics.
Yeah.
One of my good buddies is in the Breakdancing Hall of Fame. I had him on Quick Step, and we had a B-boy. His name is B-boy El Nino. Great dude out of Boston. He's on Team USA. And they actually did this really great ending for us. But I have a hunch you're going to come up with a better ending. Devon's like, we need a new ending. The endings of the shows are terrible. We don't know how to get out of the show. So I'm going to leave it up to you.
Like a monologue or something?
I don't know. I'm just going to leave it up to you because you're going to come up with something. And at the end of that, I'm just going to click end of show. So we'll say our goodbyes now, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. So Sam, amazing job. I'm so happy. My whole family is so happy for you. It was so fun to watch you compete. And it kind of brings tears to our eyes, honestly. So thank you for all that you did as an athlete to help us enjoy our evenings. I truly appreciate it, man. So thank you, and thanks for coming on. Just 24 hours after you get home or whatever it is.
Well, from the world's highest peaks to its lowest valleys, managing the climb to the top and the fall to the bottom might just be what makes you the world's greatest.
Perfect. End of show. See you guys.